What's up, everybody? This is Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news, tips, and trends. Once again, Josh from OfferVault, the industry's largest aggregator of all things affiliate marketing. If you are looking to be successful in this industry, you got to get hip to OfferVault. We got all the networks, all the offers, all the affiliate programs, and we're here to help you succeed. Check out OfferVault.com. We also have Mr. Paper Call back in action, Adam Young on the show today, and our two special guests of honor, Jerry Moody and Chris Kennedy, co-founders of AstraFuse, a network that is hyper-focused on water filtration, solar, roofing, windows, and other home improvement verticals. Jerry and Chris, thanks for joining the show. How you guys doing?
All right, thanks for having us, Josh.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on. Jerry, I was asking you before we started recording, and we decided to wait till we started recording. Do you, Jerry and Chris, know Adam from Ringba, or what's your relationship with them?
Vaguely. I've heard the guy's name before, once or twice in passing. No, we've worked with Adam in different capacities for quite a while now. In the past with old companies and now with the new venture. We're looking at starting with some healthcare stuff coming up. Gotta do the joyless cash grab that everybody else does, and then for the rest of our home improvement stuff, inbound dials for solar, roofing, windows on our owned and operated funnels, and then working into water filtration. It's been busy over here, Josh. It's been busy as hell. So.
Yeah, busy is good. I know this is a busy time of year. I always like to start off with the most important question on the show, and today will be no different. I'm curious, Jerry, how'd you get the nickname Moneystacks? I'm sure there's some story behind that.
Yeah, I've been in the industry for over a decade now, in various capacities. And then when I started, I was initially with Envious, and I worked there for a long time. We had several 35, 40, $50 million years. And other people gave it to me. I didn't give it to myself. It's kind of vain when you do that, like Mr. Paper Call over there.
Yeah, Adam gave that to himself for sure.
Oh.
First of all, it's Paper Call Daddy. And second of all,
no, it's Daddy Callbucks.
Josh did that.
Yeah.
Daddy Callbucks. Yeah. Chris, I know
I just go by Adam. That's it. That's fine.
Mr. Young sometimes. Chris, I know you wear the CEO hat at AstraFuse, but in this industry, a lot of people wear a lot of hats. I'm curious, tell us a little bit about what goes into being the CEO in your eyes, and what other hats you kind of wear within the company.
Yeah, that's a great question. My trade is technical. I've worked with a lot of emailers in the affiliate space. I've worked with people that do SMS campaigns. I've played a huge role for Envious Media. In the background, I wore the CTO hat. I advised on a lot of technical decisions that were made. So it's the same with AstraFuse. I wear all those shoes. I work with all of the affiliates to make sure that tracking is set up. I work with our internal media buying teams to make sure that they have what they need. It's purely like from a product and technical point of view, while also wearing this leadership hat of just making sure that we maintain that vision and stay current and keep the team driving forward.
He does it all. I just do a lot of talking. That's all I do. I do the talking.
That's kind of what I'm picking up on. Yeah, no, I get it. I know we talked about how busy this time of year is. Adam, I know for you at Ringba as well, it's no different with AEP and OEP. So what's your schedule looking like right now, and what is Ringba kind of doing to stay out in front of everything?
My schedule. So during AEP, I'm generally available from the time I get up, which is about 8:30 in the morning these days, and when I go to sleep, which has been about 2 or 3 in the morning, 7 days a week. I love to do customer service while at dinner. That's been a trend this week. I've gotten all sorts of fun requests there. But no joke, the schedule is brutal during AEP because in our industry, opportunities are short this time of year, and time is money. And so when someone needs help with something, I want to make sure that we're available to help them whenever that may be. And so we are overstaffing during business hours. And then we also implemented overtime compensation for our entire support team for those that want to work extra hours late and on weekends. And we really love to support those folks. They do such a great job. They work so hard. We actually extended our engineering bonus program to the entire support team recently, and ramped up the calculations actually. And so that entire team and our entire engineering team is going to see bigger bonuses this year. And I think it's important to acknowledge all of their hard work. I mean, they sit on calls and in chats all day long, every day during this time, and it can be a lot of fire drills. Like companies need something right away, or someone made a mistake and they need an answer right away. And even me, just a few minutes ago, someone who's a friend of the pod hit me up and asked a question and needed an immediate reply. And instead of bothering the support team, I just went and tried to help them solve the issue. And so my schedule's pretty brutal right now. My girlfriend is annoyed most days at my schedule right now. Yeah, if you follow me, I'm sure you've seen some of these photos that she takes of me when I should be not working but working. Those are fun. I get harassed. But like at the end of the day, I serve our customers, so does Ringba, and it's a great time of year. It's always really rewarding. I just love how our industry has grown and sort of monopolized the inbound calls for Medicare for all these big companies. So it's really cool. And then, I mean, most people don't know this, Josh, but our engineering team speaks to all of our telecom providers at least once a week, sometimes twice. We have them all on text, and we have Slack channels with all our biggest vendors and their management teams. And I was texting with the CEO of our largest telecom provider earlier today, and we really work to make sure that we're thinking about everything that has to happen this time of year, what our vendors are doing, what our partners are doing, what third parties are doing, what our customers are doing, what our team is doing, what our infrastructure is doing. It's a lot. Like I don't think people realize how big Ringba's infrastructure is, but our team is monitoring hundreds of thousands of requests a minute, many hundreds of thousands of requests a minute, trying to figure out if we can make anything go faster, or where opportunities are, or God forbid there's a problem, catch it in advance and deal with it. And so it's a crazy time of year, but it's a lot of fun for us. And then I get to see guys like this start a new business and utilize our technology to create something for themselves and their families, and make great money and build something sustainable. And as I'm saying this, I'm looking at the wall up here, which you can't see, but there's 105 mini GOAT awards that we helped people like you guys become millionaires. And so, like, I don't know, I love this time of year, and I'm gonna go hard all the way up until December 27th.
Hey, the hustle never sleeps. You don't get where you are by not working hard. That's what I've learned.
So speaking go ahead.
I had a buddy that always quoted Wolf of Wall, or no, not Wolf of Wall Street. Damn it, it's the one with Charlie Sheen, but Money Never Sleeps, pal. With Michael Douglas, he calls him really early in the morning.
Wall Street, that's
it. Yeah, he used to quote that to me all the time.
Yeah. So like Adam just said.
Hold on a second here. If you fall in love with what you guys do, and as entrepreneurs who like just started this business, if you just embrace that there is no finish line, that you will always be shoveling shit, that the more successful you are, the harder it's going to be and more painful it's going to be, and just like accept these things and then be grateful for the journey, then you just fall in love with what you're doing, and the hard days don't matter anymore. And it's about just putting yourself out there and trying to build something and ignoring all the fear, right? So I'm proud of you guys. It's amazing. I think this is amazing. And we've had a lot of new entrepreneurs enter our space this year. I was talking to Aletta Lyons just yesterday, and she is a new entrepreneur in the space too, and going through the same struggles we all do. And like, it warms my heart to hear about the struggles, right? Because I know that she'll work through it. I know she'll get there. And just like you guys, right?
So Jerry and Chris, what kind of made you guys take the plunge, right? As Adam stated, like it's a lot, right? It's a ton of different elements when you're running your own business. I know you guys have had different paths to get where you are today, but what kind of led you to decide to take this plunge with AstraFuse? And, outside of making money, which is clearly a big goal, what are like the key focuses and goals that you're hoping to accomplish with this project?
There was a word that Adam said earlier, which is sustainability. That's pretty core to how we make decisions. Can we do this again and again, and can it be sustainable long term? I feel like our last roles, it was or the last company, a lot of it was out of our control, but a lot of the things we did were not sustainable. So there's like this notion of us thinking maybe we can do this better, or maybe we can do this smarter. But at the end of the day, why go into business and shovel shit, like Adam said?
There's a lot of ownership, right? Like you said, Adam, you just have to jump in and work at all hours of the day. Like I feel like a lot of entrepreneurship is based out of necessity. Like you have something bad happen, and then you come up with a solution, or you just, like they say in Billy Madison, you either sit on your ass or you go out there and you find that fucking dog, right? Like that's how you have to do it, man. It's not like we necessarily came into this with the idea that we were gonna build our own websites and integrate with Adam and do all these other verticals and work 10 to 12, 13 hours a day, just for a single goal. It's we had to make a change. It was either go find a 9 to 5 and be one of Adam's support staff, but good on you for giving up raises. But it's either that or do something else. And we had so much experience and knowledge, and I guess we just knew all the right people. So we just didn't see the point of not doing it ourselves. When you got somebody like Chris who can build pretty much anything, and then me, I just know a lot of people. It's just a good storm for making money.
What have you found to be like the biggest challenges that you've encountered so far with getting this project off the ground? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are either in the same exact time period in terms of their new project, or they're, tired of where they're at and they're looking to kind of make the same plunge that you guys recently took. So far in your journey, what do you think has been like the biggest hill you've had to climb?
Right. How flexible can you be, and how far can you stretch? I think that's probably the biggest thing. And then the hurdles that come along with like being a small team with not as many resources as somebody with a storied Amex, like the final boss chest versus the starter chest. You gotta, work your way up from there.
Well, there's also the ever changing of like marketing. Facebook, that wasn't a thing once upon a time. Like I worked with a lot of email marketers, and even the tactics they use in email marketing, that has changed dramatically. So they're like, what I've had to embrace even more is that it can be a very volatile industry, and you have to be willing to adapt. It's like, if you don't adapt to the changes that are coming, somewhat like the single consent by the FCC, like TCPA consent, that's going to be a huge change. Like either you get on the bandwagon or you don't. And like, that's going to, if you can stick with it, that means you can be successful, but you just have to be flexible and adaptable to all these changes. Trends change, products change, money comes in and goes in different markets. Like you have to be able to jump on those bandwagons as an affiliate. I just don't see any other way to do it.
By the way, guys, I stay humble. I use an Amex green card.
Yeah, the other one's bad for your hips because it weighs so much. Like throws off your hips and your spine. It's just not healthy.
Make sure you plug your affiliate link in there too while you're at it.
So speaking of affiliate links, why do you actually, let me rephrase this. What's your opinion on, going direct versus using a network? Because I know you guys have kind of seen both sides of the industry. Do you feel like there's any kind of trend in terms of how networks operate, or who media buyers actually prefer to work with? And what do you feel like are the key advantages and disadvantages disadvantages to each side of that argument?
I honestly, one of the things that I love the most about OfferVault is that there is transparency. Like, you know who's posting the offers. Like the problem when you start working with networks and there's not that transparency is you never know what's going on behind the scenes. And you've got a lot of people relying on you when you're getting traffic to your web pages. There's just such an influx of bad traffic and inexperience. And when you put those two things together, it can literally like bankrupt companies, cause, several six-figure losses. I'm sure you guys have both seen that in your experience. It's just like I think the structure of a lot of networks isn't conducive to quality and the grand scheme of things, if that makes sense.
I still think there's a place, like, even with all these changes, I still think there's a place for networks. Not every network can be treated equally. Like, some are going to be
That's
better
a
than
good point.
others. And I think for an affiliate, if you know the space, you know how to run campaigns, and you can drive traffic, obviously go direct, because you probably don't have cash flow problems, where some of these networks, they're able to incentivize things like payouts, where that with somebody with no cash flow, that might help them spend more or ramp up and build a war chest. But you do have to be strategic about who you work with and how you do it. Obviously, going direct, you're going to get better prices. But what I have found, the more direct you are in some cases, you may have to float money for a longer period of time on the traffic you just spent. So unless you can manage that cash flow, you just you could sink really fast.
Adam, I know you used to work as an affiliate yourself back in the day, a lot before Ringba and all the other projects you're involved with. Did you ever have a preference in terms of going direct or going through a network, and which one kind of typically benefited in a better end result for you?
And I would do both. So some of the largest campaigns that I ran, the advertisers would only give me a specific allocation of cap directly. And generally speaking, they're going to have not great payment terms. Like, an advertiser's not going to give me the best payout directly and give me incredible payout terms. Very few would. And so what I would do, or even what Harrison and I would do, is we would go solicit every network available that had the offer. We would negotiate really great pricing on it. And I think having a great reputation as an affiliate in the space gives you a lot of leverage there, because I would walk into a network and be like, hey guys, I want this offer. And instead of them being like, oh, we'll give you a little cap, here's your payout, you got to work your way up, I would know how much volume I could drive, and I would just say to him, hey, I want to do this much volume. How much cap do you have, and how much can I have? I'll take all of it. And a lot of times networks would rather work with one affiliate who can fill everything that they have a great relationship with at a lower margin with faster payouts than 10 different affiliates that they are unsure of or could cause issues. So I would diversify it out of need, sometimes related to cash flow. I'm guilty of it as an affiliate. When I was in my parents' basement, I had one pay period every dollar locked up for net 30, my entire net worth, and all my credit cards entirely maxed out by the time that wire was due. And if that wire didn't come, I was done. Like,
Yeah.
I had taken my cash and paid off the Amex numerous times, and the last one was just float. And so I don't recommend that. It was very white knuckle. I did get paid, thank you to that advertiser. And I didn't do it again because I realized that I couldn't risk all this progress in life I had made over it. And so I start to think about diversification. So, like, if you can negotiate a network to take 7% margin, which is tough, or 10% margin, and it's still profitable for you, but they'll pay you weekly, what you can do is take the profit off those campaigns and shovel that towards paying down your credit line so you can float the direct cap with the buyers. I also used to use networks as a negotiating tool against the advertisers. So they would say like, Adam, I'll give you $200,000 a month worth of cap. And I'm like, great, I'd like 2 million. And they'd be like, no, we're not doing that. That's too much. We don't want that much consolidation. And so I would say to them, listen, you're working with like 20 different networks or 10 different networks. You're already buying almost that much from me. I'd like to work directly with you, then we can communicate better. And they're like, nah, that's not true. The networks say it's not true. Like, you're just full of it. And I'm just laughing because the networks are obviously like, oh, no, you know? And so
Yeah.
sometimes when they realize this, they don't like it, or they're going to be like, you know what, if we're going to do business through third parties, we might as well work directly with this affiliate. And so I probably could have done this in a more polite way, but I was just pretty aggressive about getting the networks and the direct advertisers to fight over the allocation that I was getting across the board on a lot of campaigns. And those were my most successful. The one advertiser who always really took care of me and was smart enough to work directly and paid really well at low margin, they were just really great people, is Chris Scanlon, who doesn't do this business anymore, and his brother Steve Scanlon, rest in peace, one of my closest friends. He passed away a few years ago in Las Vegas, and he would just give me huge amounts of cap, unrestricted, trusted me, would fly me out to their offices, and they'd rather just work with, 2 or 3 affiliates than 20 of them. And so that's the ideal relationship that you're looking for as an affiliate. And you should be thinking about, how do I monopolize the campaign or the traffic source so that people cannot do what I am doing?
And that, honestly, that's kind of how we operate, to be completely honest, Adam, is we kind of positioned ourselves as kind of a concierge service, being more of a direct path to a lot of these clients that we work with. So we do provide kind of that white glove service that you're talking about, where we work, directly with, construction companies all over the United States, that it would take, a media buyer all of their time, and they wouldn't be able to focus on media buying. So yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And I would ask you, like, it's become a lot harder to have those kind of relationships with any network or client. I mean, that's why we do what we do, and why we build everything ourselves, and we offer, some pretty unique payment structures that work on, various things, right? So we have direct connections with, like, water filtration clients, for example. Like, we're trying to think outside the box to give media buyers, like you were talking about back in the day, just a competitive advantage. It's like you say, it's not like what you know so much as who you know a lot, it seems like.
Or the work you're willing to put in. I think a lot of really great media buyers want to be media buyers. They don't want to deal with account management. They don't want to deal with the business development required to go find 20 water filtration, companies to take their leads, clicks, or calls. When I was an affiliate, I always tried to vertically integrate everything. And a lot of those cases, I realized that I shouldn't be doing that, and that there is value provided by a network. A lot of the times with advertisers, they'll have a relationship across multiple offers or a long time. And as a media buyer, if I didn't have that relationship, if there's one tiny little speed bump, I'm not going to be able to resolve it. I might have major payment issues. And so I learned to actually like the networks. Part of me is always like, oh, I can make more money if I go direct. That's not always the case, though. Like, the networks sometimes are really smart. They'll give me great ideas. Like, Scott Richter was incredible at this. Anytime he hit me up on AOL Instant Messenger, I knew I was going for a ride, because he would tell me, like, hey, Adam, here's the offer. I think this one's going to hit. I think it's going to hit on these traffic sources. No one's really running it. I thought about a couple of these angles, and here's some of their internal marketing we found. And just like, he would literally bet Jazz, my account manager, who could convince me to focus on their offers. And he'd always win, because he'd give me these little bits of information. They were super helpful. And I would never pull traffic from him and send it direct if I had the opportunity, because sometimes a great relationship, and I do this with a lot of my clients, like sometimes a great relationship you pay more for, but the one time you need to make that phone call and you get the piece of information or the connection you need that turns into $10 million, you're like, oh, none of this matters. And I also was very conscientious about the loyalty that I gave to networks because I wanted them to treat me this way. I wanted them to give me the information. And to your point, I think that a lot of people want to do this type of business remotely and not meet people in person. And, you know, I'm pretty introverted. I know you guys know me, and I seem not that way maybe with people I know, but like a trade show's a lot for me. It drains me, and I do 20, I don't know, 25 of them a year or whatever it is.
With the big old
But
booth.
yeah, it's worth it because when I meet with people in person, we can create a relationship, and it's that relationship that allows you to find opportunities that you might not otherwise. And, I never want to go in the front door. I want an introduction from a friend to the boss to the whatever. And like having those personal relationships is why I've always been able to do that. I know you guys have personal relationships as well. I know this is how you operate. And
Well, that's why they call me Moneystacks, man. It's because that's how I got my foot in the door starting out, and now, I have clients that I've worked with for a decade. You don't get anywhere in this business by being a jackass. That's for sure.
yeah. And if you commit to it for the long term, then you make decisions very differently. Like, I got to eat a little bit here or pay something I don't want to or whatever, but you do it because you're thinking long term. And that's always the better way. But in our industry, so many people want to cut corners on that, and then they're not thinking long term. I mean, Harrison and I do business with people today that we've known for 20 years. It's kind of crazy. Like Jenny on our team, who runs an entire team for us, Harrison met when he was 14 years old. And those relationships have allowed us to do and see so many things. It's really a big part of our success. And I think people should never look past that. I think it's like the most valuable thing you can have is the relationships, because it's like the one time you need to make the phone call and it's an emergency. Like, is my name stored in Adam's phone, and is he going to get out of bed at 3 a.m? And the answer is 100% of the time, yes.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, Adam, really, I'd be like, you can wait until at least like 7, 8 o'clock. And honestly, that's a good point. When we scheduled this podcast, Chris is like, "Hey, I've known Harrison for a long time." Like, it's crazy how cylindrical this industry is.
Yeah. And that's a true story, by the way. Their credit card had an issue and they were about to start taking calls for the day. I think it was 4 a.m, actually. And so
That's a little better.
It's a tough
stumbled downstairs.
Being online is a tough business, no matter what you do, whether you have a product, affiliate marketer, anything online, it's tough.
Yeah. Which is why I think it's so important to find a great mission that serves other people, and whoever your customers are, they're the reason why you come to work every day. They're the reason why you can be successful. And so I'm not actually complaining about that. Like, someone has a problem and I can solve it and whatever. I've been there when someone wasn't willing to help me, and it sucks. So I don't mind. That does not mean you should start calling me at 3 a.m. like Bill Somerville does, by the way.
You've given carte blanche. It's okay. They can call you now. You're going to get like all the drunk text. It's going to be great. Just great. People hitting you up. Hey, Adam, what's up, bro? It's going to be awesome. But
yes, yeah, Bill Somerville from Policy Bind actually calls me randomly up till 2 a.m. No reason.
I mean, Bill is a good guy. I would say he just is really excited about what he does. It's just Bill being excited. That's what it is. But no, that's a really good point. I mean, there are a lot of struggles associated with feeding media buyers and working with advertisers and
Oh,
making
hell
everything
yeah,
work
Jerry,
together.
taking on the transition yourself, dude. That's you. We got to get you as a host on the show, dude. That was great. Yeah. Please continue because, Chris mentioned the internet marketing, the affiliate world. It's just anything is in that industry is tough. So I'm curious, related to AstraFuse and what you guys are doing, like, what are some of the specific struggles you're running into when it comes to like feeding quote unquote publishers and media buyers first?
Chris, you just want to start singing your woes? Like there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, like the top things that come to mind, it's always a fight to have the most competitive payouts. It's always a fight to ensure we have their attention. So do they have the will to run the campaign we want them to? And Adam, this goes back to Richter, which that's a name I haven't heard in a while, by the way. But Richter spoon feeding you the recipe for success. Like I see Jerry doing that all of the time with the affiliates and media buyers we work with. And it's like a constant struggle, a constant fight for the attention to make sure that they actually give something a viable test. And then there's also like your appetite for risk. Some campaigns you got to put some time in before they even show promise of being profitable. So just having the will to get through the shoveling shit to see a successful campaign, unless you already have something that already works,
Right?
then it's different.
You
But
get them with the memes and the gifs. That's what you do, Chris. That's how you draw people in, right there. You get them in the door, you get them laughing, and then you make them money. That's like the formula for success in this industry. But you said it earlier, Adam. It's extreme ownership. That's the term that I was looking for. It's like acknowledging that you made a mistake, being willing to like eat a little bit of shit, to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go help people. Like and I mean it's in every industry. We all see this sort of thing, but when you're working for a company, it's just boss man screaming at you to go work. It's not like, hey, I actually care about these relationships and I want it to work because I consider these guys my friends that I'm gonna see them in public, and Brian always say you go around the shows with the bat. I'd prefer not to do that. Like let's just shake hands and be happy individuals and make good money together and not cause a lot of drama. And
Well,
this
I think as you mature through your journey here, I want to present a different thought to you because at our organization, the boss man doesn't yell at anybody. In fact, people like when the boss man comes and participates because I actually trust every single one of our people to make the right decision. We have really great decision-making frameworks, a really clear mission. I don't need to make the decisions for the team. In fact, I generally don't. My job is to challenge them to be better and to bring out their full potential. And so I look for people when we hire people that want to be better than they are today, that are interested in the self-improvement and the personal growth. And then one of our core values at Ringba ends with we want everybody we come in contact with to leave better off than we found them. And that even means our team members if they decide to go on their journey somewhere else. And I think when people know that about a company and they can see it, the talent that you can attract becomes much more powerful and competent. And then, we get as leaders get to focus on what we're good at because I'm not good at a lot of the stuff that our team does. Like I should not be involved in it. And so I trust them to do it better than me. And that's a scary thing for a leader, trusting people to hire people that you can trust who are better at what they do than you are is like really hard. Like because you have to sort of give them the keys to go and deliver. But when you find those people and you like unchain them, it's really cool to see the results come back. And so, like as you grow your organization, I think defining that culture can be a really powerful thing. And not a lot of companies do that well, especially in our industry. And you see them, they go up and down all the time, or they stay stagnant or whatever. And so pushing yourself and your team to grow, but letting them know that like you're there for them first, and then living that through and through can be a really powerful thing.
Absolutely.
I want to go back to media buyers real quick, specifically direct media buyers. Jerry and Chris, how do you feel like one-to-one consent is going to affect direct media buyers, specifically, with their own offers moving forward with where the industry is headed?
It's really going to hurt conversion rates, I think, over the long haul, and it's going to force prices up on the buyer side, but it's also going to cause them to be more particular about conversion rates, sell rates, contact rates. And then on top of that, like you're going to see a lot of these big corporations, publicly traded companies have to change their policies. We work in the home improvement space, as people are well aware of companies that sell leads 4, 5, 6 times. Like how are you going to make that same profit margin if you're not selling multi-selling leads? So there's going to be a huge amount of changes, and that doesn't even include what Chris has to go through on the integration side, what he has to do on the websites and everything else.
Yeah, there's another big change I foresee happening, which would be your targeting as a media buyer. Like if you only have relationships with companies that maybe only serve a certain region, you can't do these nationwide campaigns. Like who are you going to sell the lead to unless you know who that buyer is or you have the tech to do it? So like in today's, with most lead platforms, you have to know who you're selling the lead to so that the consumer can give consent. Well, if we base that off of a ping post, you have to know where they are, which means it's going to narrow down the buyers that it potentially goes to. So if you're a media buyer with limited resources or limited buyers, you're just not going to be able to cast this wide net. You're going to have to get more strategic about where you're targeting.
Well, and Adam, you see this all the time in the call space, right? Where you've got like intermediaries, not necessarily the people that generate the calls, buying calls and selling calls, and then somebody else is selling a call to somebody else. Those intermediaries, third parties, people that aren't generating the leads themselves, like they're going to really be up shit creek without a paddle. And I think that's a huge deal in the space. Like
Well, only if they're doing transfers. So the new FCC one-to-one regulations only apply to outbound dialing, not consumer-initiated inbound calls. In fact, the FCC specifically said that a consumer-initiated inbound call is akin to a consumer walking into a CVS, and so like a retail transaction. And when a consumer walks into a CVS, they can choose whatever they want to buy, and CVS can pitch them whatever they want. They can have third-party vendors in there that have space, right? Like there's no restrictions. And so the brokers that are brokering consumer-initiated inbound calls, they're going to be fine. The people who are trying to broker transfers, that business is essentially done. Aged data sales, done. All previous TCPA consent, I think, and I'm not a lawyer, get your own lawyer, get your own legal advice. I think all of that will be voided because those consumers didn't consent to the one-to-one. And so like on the date of implementation, I think all previous leads get voided that were not set to comply in advance. Like you're not going to be able to dial those anymore. Or I don't think they talked about grandfathering previous leads. Maybe they did. I don't know. You gotta look, but these are the potential issues. And to your point, I think lead costs are going to go up. And that's going to drive more affiliates to want to generate a consumer-initiated inbound call. Because if your ad spend is the same to generate a call versus a lead, you can auction a live call off to the highest bidder. You can trade it. And so that's really exciting for the call space. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but I also think this is really great for consumers too. Like I was a strong proponent of not suing the FCC for this and the Reach Lobby Group, which is our industry trade group I'm on the board of. And the reason is because a lot of these companies harass consumers that are dialing on aged data. And, I used to get 50 calls a day on my phone. I used to not be able to use it. But lately, that's really calmed down. And as a consumer, I'm super excited about that. And then for an inbound call, man, your call center reps, they're consultants and order takers now. They're not salespeople. They are not going to get angry about getting hung up on 56 times a day and yelled at. That's just not going to happen anymore. And so, yes, the lead cost is going to go up, shift more people to calls. Consumers get a much better experience. The call centers get a much better experience. And I actually think it's going to lead to more business for everybody, for those that are willing to change what they're doing and innovate. Obviously, there are going to be some people who just whine about not being able to sell their age data. But if people realized how big of an opportunity this was, like, you guys couldn't have asked for a better time to start a business. And some people would say now is a harder time, and sure, but whenever there's a ripple, there's a ton of opportunity and new ideas that come out of it. And so those that work hard and are clever are usually the ones that win. And so I'm actually super excited about all this because I think guys like you are just going to crush it. And a lot of people are going to do really well because of the changes. And a lot of consumers are going to be a lot happier. And that means sustainability. And yeah, I think it's probably the best thing that could have happened to our industry.
It's going to derail a lot of the click traffic buyers, though, on the lead side. Don't you think, Chris?
Yeah, yes, I do think that. And I also agree. Like, I think this is a good change for everyone, businesses and even the consumers. Like, it should lead to higher quality conversations, higher quality relationships, but it also requires some transparency and it requires following new rules. And the harder the problem, the higher the reward usually. So if we crack this as an industry, like, the reward will be there for the ones that can get through it.
You guys talk about, home services being your bread and butter, right? And one of the things that kind of caught my attention was what you mentioned earlier, water filtration. That's one that I haven't seen a whole lot of. So I'm curious why, right? And how did you kind of get into that? What are the reasons that it attracted you to kind of bring it into your umbrella of specific home services and all the different types of offers there are out there related to it?
Do you guys drink your tap water?
Hell no.
Yeah, exactly. There's a recent lawsuit for the plastic in the water from 3M, the non-stick pans or whatever. They've already paid 10 to 15 billion dollars. Yeah. See, I knew it. I saw you had those fancy water bottles, and I was like, yeah,
Dude,
I
I
know.
don't even want to drink out of glass. I have 5-gallon jugs delivered in glass, and it's not any more expensive. You just pay higher deposits. They give it back. But
You can make beer in those too. I don't know if you've ever heard it. You can make. They're multi-purpose. You could reuse those. But even then, like, plastic is only one of the issues in water. It's probably the most prevalent right now that people know about. But there's like cadmium and lead and fluorine and pharmaceuticals that people flush down the toilet. Some people, take Xanax recreationally. Some people drink it accidentally in their water. It happens. But then again, it's not saturated. So we have all these opportunities with media buyers. But like, the challenge is cracking the nut, right? So like that's kind of what we're dealing with. But it's got legs, right? So it's something that not everybody's doing. It's something that everybody needs. I don't think a large population of the United States actually has a water filter in their house. But Josh, you live in Ohio. Didn't that giant train just like derail into the water?
That was closer to Pittsburgh, but yeah.
Well, look at Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
I grew up in Michigan, and they literally released like toxic waste into the water supply, and everyone in Flint is suffering for it. And so I think that it's a little scary. I'm here in Miami and so close to the salt water, which corrodes pipes and causes so much degradation of infrastructure that, I just don't see a reason to not drink. It's not that expensive to buy a filter. It's not that expensive to even have the water jugs delivered. They're like a few dollars a piece. you just have to have a place to store them. So I
People
don't know.
don't
Health is
consider
important.
that. People don't consider that though, and that's the beauty of why it's a beautiful affiliate offer and why I think it's going to grow a lot in the next few years. But
Dude,
you
you
know,
can literally show news clippings of Flint, Michigan, like the water supply destroyed, toxic waste, people with cancer, lead, blah. Like you don't even need to make
exactly.
the ads. Like it's just all over the internet already.
It sells itself. It really does,
Well, for
That's
anyone
why we
watching,
chose it.
I mean, this is a perfect example of something we talk about on the podcast all the time. Don't do what everybody else is doing because you're going to be late to the game. Get out in front of it, do something different. I feel like that's exactly what you guys are kind of getting after here.
Right. I mean, you did the same thing years ago with OfferVault, right? You got to get the word out. You got to do the business, but there weren't a lot of places doing that before you guys got started. So yeah, you got
What
to
if
be an innovator. Even Adam, look at Adam here with Ringba, one of the first call platforms that even existed. This guy.
This guy.
water filtration is great because everybody can talk about it. It's an easy thing to talk about. Everybody needs it.
Huge market. Everyone needs it. Gender neutral, age neutral, demographic neutral. Everyone can be targeted. Probably could figure it out on any traffic source. Like, I'm just thinking about it now, and I'm like, I wish I would have had this offer 10 years ago. I would have
Hey,
crushed it.
we'll get a DID for you, buddy. You can kick the dust off.
Can't run calls. That's not. I'm
Well,
not
guys,
allowed.
guys, I just want to say thank you. That was it. We did it. You were a great combo on the Affiliate Marketing Show. For myself, Josh from OfferVault, Daddy Callbucks, hashtag It's a Call Track Life, Adam Young, as well as our two special guests, Jerry Moneystacks Moody and Chris Kennedy, co-founders of AstraFuse. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you next time.